SC is going to lose every single one of his takes. Pros being pulled, but the SC is coming at the perfect moment here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Starcraft 2 stage. What a great series we've got going on here between Polt and Naniwa. Polt currently leads 3 maps to 1. Naniwa must win 3 in a row if he wants to keep his tournament hopes alive.
But what we saw in the last game is the one thing that Naniwa has to avoid. Naniwa was in great position.
Yes, he was.
Absolutely could have won that game. Little simple, very easy to make slip up. As long as he doesn't make those, Polt is certainly going to be on the edge. I would say that Naniwa might even be favored in a lot of these situations. The next map is going to be Akalon Wastes, a map where we see a lot of in-base aggressive blink play from Protoss players. So Polt's going to have a good answer prepared and ready.
Certainly very suitable for this particular map. A little bit of a map that's more familiar to Naniwa as well, where he will not make a control mistake like that. So, they are ready. I am ready. Are you ready? The observer is ready. Good to know. All right, here we go, folks. Akalon Wastes. Will this be Naniwa's last shot? Will he pull it back? We'll find out.
Spawning in the top left-hand corner. He's been a crowd favorite for years and continues to show an impressive performance here at the MLG Spring Championships. From Cooler Master Storm, it is Polt!
Versus his opponent. To the southeast position, currently playing from 2 maps behind. He's going to be on match point for quite some time. The most ridiculous position you could be in terms of pressure. Can he handle it? He is playing Protoss in the red trunks. He is Alliance Naniwa!
You know, one thing that always really struck me when I first met Naniwa in 2010 at the MLG that he won. He played in the open bracket, won 26 games in a row, till he lost his first game in the finals that he wound up winning anyways. And what he said is he loves the pressure. He loves being on stage, hearing that roar of the crowd. And it's so easy for players to talk about their nerves, how they hear the crowd and it's distracting and they start to become self-conscious, but rarely ever do we hear about a player who loves playing under that level of pressure. And now down 1-3, I mean, if he can pull this back, that will be such a staggering display of skill.
Yeah, and it could only be more insane if Naniwa was 3-0 down. And Naniwa's already demonstrated his ability to beat Polt. And to be fair, aside from that control mistake, he would most likely have won that engagement. With 3 Colossus versus the 1 which he had there, then I would have given him the edge in that particular fight.
Yeah. I mean, as long as he just plays a little more conservatively. He's not doing any sort of shenanigans right now. He's going straight into a pretty typical Zealot cybernetics core timing. We're seeing it looks like a Reaper coming up out of Polt. So an excellent build on this map because, of course, you're thinking, geez, I do not want to lose any sort of Blink Stalker. So he's going to get that scout out early. He's going to get it out right away.
Nice map for it as well. You've got a couple of different options as to where you want to blink in. Not the best map, but certainly not the worst for Reaper play by any stretch of the imagination. Polt is going to go again for an engineering block. A Zealot is coming out, though. So Naniwa tends not to skip the Zealot, and it is the right move. Of course, he sees that with the pylon down there anyway. So this engineering bay is really not going to do a huge amount.
Yeah, there's some interesting decision-making also coming out from Naniwa going for that sentry before the Mothership Core. Almost always we see players go for the Mothership Core. He might be doing something a little bit more old school and going for double sentry instead of the Mothership Core. But no, it looks like there's a Mothership Core coming up, queued up. Expansion en route for Polt.
Oh, he doesn't want to get too far out with that. There is a Reaper on the way, so losing a sentry would not be a good start. But the Reaper is heading into the base. Of course, he will be aware of it now. He's going to try and pick a probe off in the process.
Mothership Core moving forward will meet that Reaper. Things thus far are staying pretty calm, pretty collected. No big aggressive plays, and this is a very odd map for the late game because in a lot of maps you think of something like Whirlwind or gosh, even things like Daybreak or Neoplanet S. There's all this defending against drops you have to do, but then when you hit the mid game and the end game, there's big fields where you can engage your opponent. Here, there's not really a lot of good field positions. I mean, there's one directly outside each player's base, but you know, these top right and bottom left expansions, very cramped, very oddly positioned. Terrans tend to just run away until they have a big edge, and there's the really fast hallucination scout from Naniwa.
There's also the kind of thing that we see in TvP on this map is that it's actually a really great map for Storm, and the reason being that you're able to sit up on the high ground with Templar and Storm as units pass, take control of the Zelnaga watchtowers, and you generally have an edge in terms of positioning those particular Storms and landing them for maximum effect. Now we're seeing a Widowmine actually come out here from Polt.
Looks like Naniwa setting in the scout. He's going for his fast 2 Immortal push build, the one that he didn't do successfully in the first game of their first series. So now upon scouting everything, he sees, okay, there's Engineering Bay. It's going to be a big tech play, and this is going to be very, very tough for Polt to hold off. I mean, there's going to be 2 Immortals incoming. And it looks like there's the scout. Now, at this point in time, Polt is thinking, that's an observer that's coming out there. You are playing conservative observer style. But then he's going to see these gateways, and he's going to start to get real suspect.
Yep, and goes that. No. He doesn't block it. He's going to see the Immortal. Very nicely done there by Polt. A slight slip up with the force field. Would have been great if he'd been able to block that, but that has now been revealed. It doesn't necessarily rely on being hidden, but it would have been nice.
Looks like Naniwa might just try to go right now with a single Immortal. It looks like he's actually going to try to beat the mines out. He's going to try to get there before the mines arrive. This is a very clever way to get around this, and we've seen this out of Naniwa for ages. When Banshee play used to be popular, he had a number of timing attacks that struck right as the Banshee finished, and that is how he would be able to keep his main alive. We're seeing Naniwa not halt his pro production. He's leaving the Mothership Core at home just in case. Still no observers.
Unfortunately, he wasn't able to trigger the mine there. He would have loved to be able to do that, but it does take about a second and a half to actually fire off, so if the bunker is there, it can kill the probe before that's able to happen. Polt sees what's going on with the back rocks right there. They will go down very fast with the addition of the Immortal, and Polt bringing units to the front here. A couple of mines deployed in defensive positions. We'll see exactly what kind of connections they get.
In the unit count, we see there's 12 Marines, 1 Marauder. There's no stim. He sees the mine. A single Zealot eats it.
Yep, well, it could have been worse, certainly. Medevac now moving out just to keep an eye on where that army is, and he knows. Pro production now resumed. Observer coming out here as well, so Naniwa knows that this isn't really going to go anywhere. It's probably time to back off before the Terran sallies forth, or maybe just goes and drops the main.
Yeah, there's really only one choice you have right now in Naniwa's position, and that's to go Twilight Forge. You haven't been starting your Colossus production early, and because you make Colossus out of the Robo facility, you can only make them one at a time. Whereas, you know, with Templar, it doesn't matter if you're a little behind on the tech, because you can make as many at a time as you have gateways. So Naniwa's going to be going down that tech path, and Polt should be able to identify that pretty quickly and be able to transition into Hellbat production now. So we're going to see the Warp Prism coming up from Naniwa. Again, very classic, traditional play. I'm going to be the defender, so I'm going to get my Warp Prism with my gateways to do the offensive work.
And we're going to throw down a Dark Shrine. When behind, build Dark Shrine. And adding the charge in there as well, and the Warp Prism, gives him a lot of different options. Yes, he could go Zealot Archon. He can use the Dark Templar. Nice pick off there by Naniwa, making sure that that mine doesn't get into position, but another one did manage to make its way to the third.
Right now, looks like Naniwa is just going to be holding position, and Polt does his usual thing where he leads with a single Marine. Stim just now finishing up so we can begin to do some attacking. More barracks coming down. No additional engineering bays. A lot of people like to go for that fast 2-1 upgrade, but no, looks like Polt favoring the aggression first. There's the additional 4 gateways coming out for Naniwa. We see that single Warp Prism sneak its way up the right side, and Polt is going to try to move into the front.
All right, well, there's a reasonable amount of stuff defending it, so that could be a little bit of a difficult attack to make, especially with force fields available here. Here comes the Stim Mothership Core with the Photon Overcharge. It's a shame he wasn't able to force field that off and maybe trap a few units to be killed by the Photon Overcharge, but he defends successfully.
This is a pretty typical position to be in right now as a Protoss player, behind by a little bit of supply. You'll get behind by as much as 30 or 40 for a brief period of time until you can get some of those really big power units up, but we see that Warp Prism moving in. Has the Zealots. Dark Templar have not yet been warped in. He's going to try to drop down here, distract his opponent, and then get the DTs. in the main.
Yep, sounds like a good idea indeed. Goes in slightly before charge finishes, which is unfortunate because if charge was done, he'd have got a couple more SCVs there. It does, however, serve its purpose to distract. However, the supply depot is going to be the hero of the day, and it's going to spot that.
And there's the warp in, and it looks like he only has 2 scans. So with these 2 DTs, it's going to be a little bit tricky. Expansion goes down, Naniwa third base, and he's going to also do a DT warp in down at the third. So right now we're seeing the scan in the main has managed to keep things alive, but Naniwa is starting to pick off SCVs and the natural expansion.
And he's just warped DT into the third base as well, so he's denying mining there too. Another scan goes down, there's the second one, but there is that third. It's trying to, of course, force that lift, but with a single Dark Templar, it generally doesn't happen. He's going to be able to pick off a Marine or 2 here and there. Stim goes forward again, trying to, I guess, catch the Warp Prism, but that's not going to happen.
And I mean, right now, there's just no additional scans. So right now, Polt is still mining on 2 bases. We see that Naniwa has gotten his third base down, is getting the +2 armor, and just going Immortal, Zealot, Templar.
Almost ran into the range of the missile turret, didn't do that. Denying mining from that third base is fantastic at this point. I mean, this single Dark Templar is doing a phenomenal job. He's killed a reasonable amount of workers, but it's the mining time that tells the real story.
Wow. Naniwa behind by about 20 supply. We see the 2-2 upgrades about to get started for Polt, as are the Hellbats, and this is where things get very tricky for the Protoss player. In this position, Naniwa, I mean, Wings of Liberty, you could continue to add on gateways, and you could go Zealot, Archon, Storm, just basic gateway units for a little while, but now Naniwa actually has to stay back, has to stay very, very defensive, because if he builds too many Zealots, he's going to just get ripped apart by the Hellbats.
Yep, that's very, very true. Something he has to bear in mind. Interestingly enough, we are seeing the Mobius reactor upgrade coming in.
Wow, that's a very fast Ghost upgrade.
Yeah, it is. Surprisingly so.
I mean, I was very expecting to see Hellbats coming in at this point in time, but Naniwa is just playing very conservatively. Cannons, pylons being planted all around his bases. I mean, they're all protected from warp in. We're seeing the Chrono Boost go down on the Robo facility, on the forges, to try to get as many upgrades as possible. More gateways coming out from Naniwa. No Blink yet. Blink still has not been researched.
Interception coming in right here. Running halfway across the map, trying to get this Warp Prism, and I think they're going to be disappointed because the Vikings going to get it, but hey, never mind. Picks the Warp Prism off one way or the other. 3 Ghosts coming in. Now, this is, it's not a massive Archon force here, honestly. There are only 2 of them. There are no High Templar out on the map. Interesting choice.
Right now, Naniwa has 1 Colossus out, kind of hidden at the backside, trying to make sure that that doesn't get spotted. And this is the real danger for what we're seeing Polt do. Polt is starting to say, you know what, you've got to be going for massive gateway compositions. I'm going to go Hellbat Ghost. He's sort of overcompensating for that early spot of the speed, the early spot of the Dark Templar, and he's going to run into 2 or 3 Colossus, and that's going to be so difficult to deal with. I mean, Naniwa is adding on more gateways. He's going to be able to reinforce with a huge flood of Zealots after he's ripped down this front line of units, and I mean, Naniwa's following straight along with that Observer. Naniwa is even getting ready to take a 4th base.
Yeah, I mean, the combo of EMP and Hellbat, of course, will devastate Zealots, but that's assuming he's, able to land them properly. There are, I thought he was going to keep that in order for a couple of feedbacks, but apparently not. It's a dicey engagement, one way or the other. It's going to be high damage from both sides, but as you said, with the Colossus, and there's very few Vikings available to really deal with them. I don't know how successful this is going to be, Sean.
Immediately, extra Vikings begin production. But look at this, there's really not a second Stargate, or excuse me, second starport anywhere. It's just a single one, and he only has 3 Vikings. He needs to begin adding on those real fast.
Yep, he does. And at this point, bear in mind that he is almost maxed on supply. If he wants to change his composition at this point, he is going to have to sacrifice something in order to make that happen.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
A flank has been set up here.
There's
interesting.
And it looks like,
that's a good
EMPs land. There's the force fields going down. There's a number of units running headlong into the small army at the south side, and Naniwa is going to be forced to reposition because he realizes that there's units coming from all sides.
He's going to get flanked here and take some more damage. The Colossus is still alive. 1 goes down. Second one is about to fall as well. Polt looking in a good position. The Warpins come in from the back. Polt stimming forward. Mules are down. Polt thinks he's got it. The question is, does he have it? There's not enough force fields with it to trap everything here. There's only a single Colossus remaining. What's coming in right now?
Another
Zealots are
Colossus
dead.
coming in, but
Can
it
he
looks
reinforce?
like there's a lot of ground units moving in. 10 more Zealots come in. Did Polt throw down the mule preemptively?
He
It looks
might
like the
have.
answer
Did he
is
pull a
yes.
taser? He might have pulled a taser. He's going for it right now, trying desperately to hold the Colossus. Falls down, but there's a couple of Hellbats at the back. Plenty of medevacs. He breaks it. Finally, Polt breaks it. GG!
Polt advances, your first finalist of the MLG Spring Championships. The last Terran standing from Cooler Master Storm. It is Polt! Polt, having thumbed down Naniwa in the first spot, walks over to Naniwa. They exchange some friendly words. Polt puts out his hand. Naniwa wrapping up his keyboard. Smiles all around.
Well, he knows he was straight up beaten, quite frankly. There's no real question about that. Polt played phenomenally well.
Oh, man. Well, Polt collects his American flag, showing that even if he's not in Korea training with the tip-top ESF and Kespa pros, he is still able to go toe-to-toe with the best. How exciting to think that the finals, no matter who it be, Quantix Hyun or Liquid Hero, it will be a non-mirror matchup finals. What a fantastic series, having defeated Naniwa 2-0 their first engagement and 2-1 in the second.
Anyone was doubting that Polt's skill would decrease as a result of staying in the US, decrease as a result of not being on TSL? Well, eating their words at this point, Polt having already demolished a top Kesper Pro, taking out Naniwa twice and fighting his way through this bracket. He is now in the finals, and he of course awaits the terror of what is left in the losers bracket.
That does mean that we have 2 matches left in this tournament. We have semifinal number 2 between Liquid Hero and Quanta Hyun, and after that will be the grand final of the MLG Spring Championships. Who will Polt face? We'll find out soon. I'm Day9.
I'm Total Biscuit. We'll see you shortly.